So welcome everybody. I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come today to learn a little bit about the exciting new updates that we launched recently in the USA Learns Citizenship course, which is located at usalearns.org. I thought I would start out with doing some quick introductions of our presenters. I will start with myself. My name is Andrea Willis. I recently retired as the director of USA Learns. My team built USA Learns, and I always love the opportunity to come out and share it. All right, so I am now going to invite Jenny, our next presenter, to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Jenny Curry Santamaria, and I'm a longtime ESL and EL Civics teacher and materials writer, and I've been involved in most of the courses at USA Learns, including writing the updates that we're going to look at today for this course.
Thank you, Jenny. And next is Elisa Takeuchi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elisa, and I am a remote English through U.S. history teacher for Tamalpais Adult Education. And I am also an ESL and CTE instructor for Garden Grove Adult Education. And I've been super lucky enough to be a content developer for USA Learns for quite a few years now.
Wonderful, thank you. And I always love when I can present with Jenny and Elisa because they bring a real teacher perspective to the presentation, and I'm very appreciative of that. I'd like to share with you a little bit about the topics I have in mind for our time together today. I would like to give you a quick overview of our USA Learns website and courses. I'll give you a tour of the USA Learns Citizenship course. And I know that some of you maybe have never been to our course before, and so I want to show you a bit about the original content that we released originally several years ago. And I'll put an emphasis on the new content because we're very, very excited about the new activities and content that we have added to the course. It was just last week it launched. And we also have some great tips and resources for teachers that we will be sharing. All right, so a quick overview. So we have 7 free online courses that teach basic and intermediate English as a second language. And while all of our courses teach English, the ones that really specifically focus on English are our First English course, English 1+, Second English course, and Practice English and Reading. We also have our Access America course, which teaches immigrant integration skills and topics. We also teach U.S. citizenship. Obviously, that's our USA Learns Citizenship course. And several of our courses teach job skills, but one that specifically is all about job skills is called Skills for the Nursing Assistant. So those are our courses. A little more overview info. We have been visited by more than 19 million learners around the world. And that number always blows me away and just makes me feel so proud of what we've been able to accomplish with this website so far. Just a fun fact, we have a learner site, and there's also a teacher site. And in just a bit, I'm going to give you a tour of the learner site, and we're going to talk a little bit about the teacher site. Most of our learners study independently, meaning they do not have a teacher. But I will tell you, you teachers out there, you're in hot demand. Everybody who does not have a teacher wants one. And we're also used quite a lot by adult schools, libraries, and other organizations that help immigrants. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the original citizenship course. It teaches English as a second language, along with the skills and information necessary to prepare applicants for all aspects of the naturalization interview. We start with a lovely lesson about, am I eligible? And also some great info about getting started with applying. We teach those very tricky N400 questions, along with history and civics questions. And for those of you who are familiar with the lovely red flashcards from USCIS, those are the 100 questions that we basically teach in that unit. We also teach small talk because that's an important part of the interview and something that often surprises applicants. They didn't realize that really the interview starts in the hallway with, how are you? How's it going? Did you find somewhere to park? And we also cover what happens on the day of the interview And what happens after the interview? All right, now on to the exciting new content. And I need to give a very big shout out and thank you to our friends over at the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, henceforth called USCIS, for the innovations grant that they kindly gave us not too long ago. Without those funds, we would not have been able to make this major batch of enhancements to this course. So thank you to them. So the new content includes lots of great content, including how to create a USCIS account and complete the N400 online. And that one right there is huge because when we originally launched the course, learners back in the day were applying on paper, right? So now it's all online. So we wanted to support learners through that important process, part of the process. We've also added some really great digital literacy skills, which I'll show you in just a bit. We have added quite a bit of mock interview listening practice. And I'll share with you, before we started planning this course, we did a survey of citizenship teachers and to ask them, what did they think we should add to the course? And that more listening practice, more mock interview was right toward the top of the list. We've also added more immigrant integration opportunities and activities to make the content more locally relevant. That was also something people wanted. And we have lots more speaking practice, and we've created or updated more than 40 videos that are now in the course, and we have lots of fabulous teacher resources. Okay, so in a minute, I'm going to show you a list of my take on what happens during the naturalization interview. But before I show you that, I would like you to ponder that thought for just a minute and think about what happens during the naturalization interview. What do you know about it? Okay, here we go. Here's my list. And I love showing this list because pretty much if it might happen during the interview, we teach it in our course. Okay, so when the applicant goes to their naturalization interview, the USCIS officer is listening for many things. The officer wants to determine, can this person speak English? And so we teach the language that could be used throughout the interview, along with small talk. We also teach the US history and civics test questions. And as you may know, the applicant will be asked 10 questions from the official list of 100 questions. And the applicant needs to answer 6 of them correctly. There's also a reading and writing test. We want to make sure people can read and write in English. And so they need to read 1 sentence aloud and write 1 sentence in English, and they get 3 chances at doing that. And I will share with you, there is an official list of the words that they might have to read and the words they might have to write. And if I keep my wits about me in a bit, I'll show you where those are at in the course. And the officer is also going to be asking questions about the N400 to determine if the applicant is telling the truth, if the answers match the one on the application, if there are any errors on the application, and the officer is also listening to determine if there are any changes that need to be made to that application, such as maybe a new address or a new workplace. All right, so when I do this presentation in a room with a bunch of teachers, we usually brainstorm about, what do you think? What are some of the most challenging parts? What do your students say? And this is kind of a little summary of what teachers usually tell me. They say that there is lots of difficult vocabulary, and that is true. If you've looked at the N400, boy, there are some really difficult words on there that we want to make sure our learners know. There's a lot of English speaking, including that small talk that I mentioned. And I will share with you regarding small talk, applicants are often really surprised that they just weren't ready for that. They had those 100 questions ready to go, but they hadn't really thought about how to have a little conversation in the hallway. There's also that very tricky part 12 of the N400, all of those have you ever questions, have you ever committed genocide or homicide, or all those have you ever questions are quite tricky. Also difficult are those questions about illegal activities, because if someone has, done something illegal in their past, they need to be prepared to talk about that and explain that in a clear way. Also difficult are those questions about, time outside of the United States. Because as we know, a lot of people, especially like in Mexico, they'll, go from the US to Mexico and back and forth and back and forth. And so we want to make sure that they understand, to keep track of those dates of coming and going and make sure they don't stay out of the US too long, all of those kinds of things. And then there's just the general stress of the interview. I mean, that's got to be a very stressful day, lots of unknowns. And so we try to help people feel comfortable and know what that process looks like so that they can feel comfortable during their interview. Okay, so in a minute, I'm going to give you a little tour of the citizenship course. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to ask you a favor, which is, could you please be thinking about how might you use USA Learn Citizenship to help learners? And at the end of my presentation, I'm going to ask you to put that into the chat, or you can even do it throughout the presentation. That's totally fine too. But I just love to hear the creative ideas that people come up with as far as how they might use this 100% free resource to help people. Okay, so here we go. It's tour time, and I'm going to be taking you to usalearns.org, which is the student site. And I am going to just point out a couple of things here. So here we are on the home page. If this were my first time coming here, I would click this big red Start Now button and register. It's very quick. Learners just need to put in their first name, last name, and email, not an address, nothing that's terribly, self-identifying. And then sign in. If they've already registered before, they click sign in, and that's what I'm going to do because I've been here about 1 million times. And I'm signing in with my student email address. And here we are on the My Home page. And this is where we list all our courses. So if a student wants to study any of these, they just go ahead and click one of the courses. Today, we're looking specifically at the US citizenship course. So here I am on the unit menu page. And this course has 4 units. It's unit 1 is Steps to Becoming a US Citizen. 2 is the N400 Application and Naturalization Interview. 3 is Civics Reading and Writing Practice. And 4 is Your Interview and New Citizenship. So let's just take a peek at Unit 1, Steps to Becoming a US Citizen. And here we have 3 lessons. The first one is called Become a US Citizen. The second one is First Steps. And the third one is Be Prepared. So I'm just going to take you on a little tour, a little sampling of some of the original content and point out some of the new content while we're at it. So here we are in Becoming a US Citizen. We start with a lovely video introduction, and we have our learning goals, and we have a piece on why become a citizen, and a nice little piece on am I eligible? This is a question people often will put on Facebook when we're doing Facebook posts. Everybody wants to know, am I eligible? And I always refer them to this little piece here. I'd also like to point out here a new activity that we just recently launched is called Creating an Email. And as we know, it's really important for people to have an email that they can check and that they know how to check. Because in order to set up an account on the USCIS website, you need an email. So let's go ahead and check out this little video called Let's Watch. It's one of our digital skills activities. All right, here we go.
Creating an email account. Before you apply for naturalization, you need to have an email account. Don't use an email address that you have for work or school, because if you change your job or school, you may not have that email address anymore. Also, USCIS will send private information to this account, so don't use an email address that you share with other people. If you need a new email address, go to a website that offers free email.
All right, there you go. You get the idea. And one thing you'll notice when you watch our videos is we have put a lot of attention to detail in making sure that the imagery that we've used is very clear. We have big on-screen user-friendly text to kind of accompany what the video is saying so that people really understand what we're talking about. Okay, now let's take a look at another one, setting up your USCIS account. And I'd like to show you a Learn Keywords activity. This is how we teach vocabulary. And also while I'm here pointing out things, check out how easy it is to navigate this site. Literally, a learner can get through here by hitting next, 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 and also knowing how to use this menu button is also quite handy. So here we are, Learn Keywords. This instructions say, select listen to hear the keyword, read the definition and sentence. So let's do that.
Confirm or confirmation. To confirm is to show that something is true. A confirmation shows that something is true. When you submit your documents, you can confirm that USCIS received them.
So you'll notice we have the vocabulary word and a definition and a sample sentence, along with an image that that kind of visually shows what that word means, along with the audio file. And I'll share a little story with you, is that in the original version of this course, we only read the vocabulary word. And then one of my teacher friends said to me, you know, you should really record the definition and the sentence too. And so when we did this round of revisions, we went ahead and we did that because we want learners to have as much listening practice as they can get. Okay, so that was how we teach the vocabulary words. Now we want people to be able to use those words. So let's check out this activity here. The instructions say, read the question, select the correct answer. Okay, so the sentence says, please click on the beep to avoid or to visit our webpage, if I could read. Okay, so our choices are applicant, verification, or link. I think it's link. I hit check. Yay, I got 2 stars. I got it right, so I'll get full points for that. Then I hit next. Now let me show you what it looks like if I answer incorrectly, okay? Use a strong password to blank your account to, let's say, submit your account. I hit check. Oh man, I got it wrong. That's okay. I can try again. I can secure my account. And I only get 1 star that time and I get partial points, but that's okay. Okay, now let me show you our lovely new Let's Watch video that we created for this one. Okay, here we go.
How to create a USCIS online account. Creating a USCIS online account is quick and easy. To create an account, visit my.uscis.gov and select Sign In. Then select the blue Create an Account link. Enter your email address. Use your own email address. Don't use one that you share with others.
All right, you get the idea. And then we follow that up with a multiple choice comprehension check. And while we're here, let me show you how, let me show you our learning log activity. It's a self-assessment that helps learners determine, you know, if they're learning this content sufficiently. The instructions say, select all the words you know and skills you have after studying this lesson. So here we go. Let's see. Did I learn the word confirmation? Yeah. How about secure? Yeah. Link. Okay. So I learned all of those. I know reasons to become a U.S. citizen. Yep. I know the requirements for becoming a citizen. Yes. I can create an email account. Yes. I can set up my USCIS account. Yes. I hit done. Now I get this nice green box with good news. You know, I did a good job. I learned a lot of new vocabulary and skills. And so I would then click this continue to the next activity. But if I would have answered, if I would have clicked on less than 80% of those boxes, I would have had a red box that pulls up here that suggests that I do the lesson again. Okay, so I'm going to continue to the next activity. Hope you guys are liking this tour. It's so weird not seeing any of you. I wish we were in a room together, but we're not, but this is okay. I'm still thrilled you're here. Okay, so let's go to 1.2, first steps. And I will say, so Elisa is watching the chat for me. And Elisa, if any questions come in, if you guys have questions, plop them in the chat. And Elisa, don't be shy. Feel free to just ask away at any point. It will not be an interruption. Okay, so let me see here. I'm on 1.2, first steps. And I'm just going to give you a quick peek at what is in here. We have a nice little introduction to the N400 application for naturalization form. We have also an intro to the N400 online. That's a new piece, by the way. For those of you who are already familiar with the course, that's a new one. We have a great little piece on what happens after you submit your N400. You know, we teach about biometrics. What are they? What happens? How do I do that? What if you move? What do you do before the interview to get ready? A little overview about the interview, exceptions and accommodations, and what happens after the interview. So that's just a little peek at 1.2. All right, 1.3, be prepared. So here we have some great ideas that can help people study for their interview. We list some really great resources, such as go to your adult school, go to your library, various resources, go to the USCIS website. We also have a nice piece on getting help with your N400, because we always want to make sure people are getting qualified help. We don't want the wrong people, helping applicants. And also a great piece on, do I need legal help? We worked with some really amazing immigration attorneys on this one, and they helped us craft this part of the course. We have some nice activities about the red flags, and you may be familiar with those. It's like, if you have to answer yes to any of these red flag questions, you need to get qualified legal help. And we also have some really nice activities on protecting yourself and avoiding fraud, because there are so many scammers out there that try to rip off immigrants. And a nice new activity in this lesson is called In Your Community, Getting Legal Help. And so let me show you how that works. So these In Your Community activities, we have a lot of them that are newly added to the course, and I love these. These were originally kind of, I'll say, invented in our Access America course, which is about immigrant integration. And basically they were so successful and well received by teachers and learners in the other course that we thought, ooh, we need to bring those same activities into the citizenship course. So that is just what we did. And so with these activities, basically we give the learner an assignment to go out into the community and research some topic that we think is relevant to their lives. They go and they research it, and then they come back to our site and they report their findings by using a speaking activity. So let's check out one of those In Your Community activities. All right, so the instructions say, read and listen to the assignment. Select next to hear a sample response. So here's the assignment.
Assignment. Find a place to get legal help. What services do they have? How do you use their services? For example, online, in person, or over the phone. Do you have to pay for their services? Get ready to talk about what you learned.
All right, so there's the assignment. That's what we're supposed to go do. Now here is a sample response. And so this is kind of an example of what a student might record. And I'll share with you another thing that when we did our teacher survey a while back, teachers wanted to hear more voices and see more faces in the course, because one thing we know is that when applicants go to their naturalization interview, their officer may be from a different part of the United States, or they might be from a different country. They might have a different accent. So we want our learners to just kind of get their ears used to hearing lots of different accents.
Sample response.
I found a legal aid organization for immigrants. They help with completing forms, representation in immigration court, and many other things. They speak English, Cantonese, and Spanish. You have to call their telephone number to make an appointment.
Okay, so you get the idea. Then I hit next. All right, so here is where I am going to practice my speaking by recording my voice. I'm going to hit listen to start with.
Now it's your turn. Talk about a place to get legal help or help preparing for citizenship. What services do they have? How do you use their services? Do you have to pay for their services?
All right, so I'm not going to actually say much other than testing, testing, testing. I hit stop. I hit playback, testing, testing, testing. And then the learner hears their own voice. One question that comes up often that I'll just share with you now is a lot of times teachers will say, oh my goodness, I wish I could hear what my students recorded. And I say, oh, that would be cool. It's not how it works right now, but that would be an interesting enhancement for a future date. But there are some really creative teachers out there who might have their students practicing these same things in different ways. So if you have ideas, love to hear them. Put it in the chat, please. All right. So let's hit the menu button. And let's now go to Unit 2, the N400 application and naturalization interview. Okay. And one thing while I'm on this lesson menu page, I'm going to point out, which is notice this column here with the check mark and the boxes. That basically means if the learner has completed that entire lesson, this box will be filled in blue, like this row here where my cursor is. If they've done something in that lesson, it's going to be half filled in, and if they've done nothing, it's just a white box. And if they've entirely completed it, there will be a score that shows here. So that's a little pro tip for you. All right, so let's just take a little peek at kind of a sampling type tour here. Okay, so this is just the unit introduction. We have a nice little video overview about the N400 and a video to our multiple choice questions along with a video to get ready. All right, 2 is questions and short answers. And here we teach about the question words, you know, who, what, where, when, those kind of things, because the whole point of this really is to get learners ready for that interview, right? And if they're a little fuzzy on the difference between who and where or what and when or whatever, that's going to be it'll be hard to answer the question. So we teach about the question words. We also have some nice grammar points about verb tenses, present and past tense, along with some listening activities and how to answer present perfect questions and how to give short answers and how to use tags and clarifications. All right, that is a little peek at the second one. All right, so we're going to dive in a little deeper with information about you, because that is something that could be asked, right, during the part of the interview in which the officer is looking at the N400 application and asking questions about it. You know, there's questions about identification, physical descriptions, does this person need any accommodations? And then I'll show you a new in your community activity that we created. It's about getting a driver's license. And so let's check that out. Here's a little introduction. All right, so here we have, it's a reading activity. We're supposed to read the activity introduction, and we can listen to it too if we want to.
You can use your permanent resident card to prove your identity, but it doesn't show your home address. For this reason, many people use a driver's license as their main form of identification. All
right, you get the idea. All right, gonna pop back down here and let's watch.
Using the DMV website.
Well, I can play closed captions too if I want.
In most states, there are a number of DMV services that you can do online. Using these services can save you from waiting in long lines at the DMV. For example, you may be able to register your car online. Every state requires car owners
That's
to
my
have a
thumb.
current registration. You can usually pay the fee online and receive your registration sticker in the mail. If you change your address,
You get the idea. All right. Let's see. I think that's all I was going to show you in that one. All right, let's pop over here. We also have some really nice, we have a nice one about contact information. Let's look at employment, schools, and travel. All right, so here we teach words about jobs and schools, help people prepare to answer those questions about time outside of the United States. And a new one here is the N400 online about you. So let's check that one out. All right.
filing the N400 online. About you. In this video, you will learn how to complete the second section of the N400 application for naturalization. The second section of the online application is called About You. Here, you will provide information about yourself, including your gender and ethnicity, height, weight, and the color of your eyes and hair.
I'm so excited when I see these new videos, and I love that we're now able to help people with the N400 form itself. All right, we also have a nice little piece on using apps to stay organized. So let's check that out. And that's one of our digital literacy activities that we've added, or digital skills. All right, using apps to stay organized.
Using apps to stay organized. When you apply for
That
citizenship,
looks like me, I think.
just like
Sometimes
when
I
you
feel like
apply for a
those
job
videos all
or a
over me.
school, there are a lot of things you need to keep track of. For example, the dates of your biometrics appointment and interview, the dates you travel outside the country, and the lists of documents that you need to collect for your application. There are many apps that can help you organize dates and other information, and some of them are already on your phone or laptop. You can use calendar apps to keep track of dates, reminder apps to help you remember to do things, and notes apps to write information that you need to.
All right, there you go. You get the idea. I love those new digital literacy skill videos that we made. Those are so nice. All right, let's check out, we're going to skip over some of these. We have family relationships and civic responsibility, memberships and associations. Let's check out illegal activities. We teach about words and concepts necessary to talk about criminal records and crimes, immigration and deportation. We have a new in your community activity called US laws, and we have interview practice, which I want to show you. This was, again, in response to teachers' requests for more mock interview type things. So let's check this one out here. Part 2.
Have you ever participated in prostitution?
No.
Don't be offended. It's just a question on the application.
Okay.
Are removal, exclusion, rescission, or deportation proceedings currently pending against you?
No.
Have you ever been ordered removed, excluded, or deported from the United States?
No, I haven't.
And what I should have mentioned before I showed you that was what we're even doing on this activity, which is we're listening to part of the interview and then we're selecting all of the questions that you hear. And you may be wondering, why do they have a question where they ask this lady if she's participated in prostitution? And we asked that question because that is a question that could come up during the interview, and we would rather people be surprised here than actually during their interview. So that is why that is there. So I hit check. Yay, I got it right. Okay, so that is a sample of our interview practice format that we do. All right. Let's see here. I do want to show you one more little piece of this unit, which is completing your application. This is a new one. We teach words related to evidence because as you're submitting your N400, there are various types of evidence you need to submit. We also teach people how to review and actually submit their application, along with how to track their case, because that's an important one. Everybody wants to know what's the status of their case. All right, so hit the menu button a few times to arrive back here to the unit menu. And this is the 4th unit. And with this one, I'm just going to give you a little peek at a few things here. We're going to just look at, so we have arriving at your interview, right? Greetings and small talk, starting your interview, and after the interview. So let's take a peek at a few of these. Arriving at your interview. We want to make sure people are comfortable and understand what's happening when they're going through security. For a lot of people, this will be the first time they've ever gone through this kind of process. So let's look at how we teach keywords related to going through security. Okay. So we show the vocabulary word, tray.
Tray. Put your cell phone in the tray. Place your keys and wallet in the tray.
There you go. So we teach all those words. And then we have a nice listen for it activity. Here we go. The instructions say, select listen, choose the correct picture for the keyword you hear.
Please remove anything metal from your pockets.
Ooh, okay, remove anything metal from your pockets. I'm thinking this one here, and then I hit check. Yep, I did it. Okay, so that's a listening activity that we have. And this is a asking for clarification. This is important. We want to make sure that if the applicant is asked a question that they don't quite understand, that they're not shy, and that they know some ways to ask for a bit of clarification. So here it's a reading activity. It says read and listen to the text.
You can clarify instructions by asking questions with should I or do I need to. Here are some examples of questions. Should I take off my belt? Do I need to walk through again?
There you go. You get the idea. All righty. So we go through security. We teach directions in the building and what happens in the waiting room. And we also have a nice new one about using an app to plan your route. So let's look at that. It's a digital skills activity. So here we have
Route. A route is the way to get to a place. You can plan your route with an app.
That's good. Here's another one.
Destination. Your destination is the place you are going. Our destination is not very far away.
There you go. Okay, there's just a little sampling of that. And then we have a lovely, we have a meaning match activity. There we go. Listening.
What is your location?
Ooh, what is my location? I think it's this one. I'm really proud of the effort that my team put into finding all these images, because I'll tell you, that is no small job.
What time is the last departure?
It's not easy to find images that could stand alone and really show what that word is. Yay, we got it right. We're good. Okay, let's see. Let's see what else. Pop back and show you a little bit about greetings and small talk. So here we have, a little video of the officer chatting with the applicant in the hallway. How are you doing? How's the weather? Did you find somewhere to park? All that kind of thing. And we have a nice in your community activity where we have the learner go out and talk with someone who works at a store and just have a little small talk kind of conversation. All right, starting your interview. We teach people about the whole swearing in process and some vocabulary related to it and what they have to do. How to respond, understand and respond to some basic requests like have a seat, raise your right hand, that kind of thing. Starting your interview. Oh yeah, we just did that one. Oh. And then also what happens after the interview? We have a nice little piece on completing your naturalization. You have to go to the ceremony. We have them practice the oath. Boy, have you watched the oath? There's some difficult words in that thing. And we also talk about your new citizenship. What are the next steps once you're a citizen? We teach about how to register to vote and applying for a passport, updating your records, sponsoring family members. And we have a nice new activity here at the end, an in your community activity where we have learners figure out how to vote. So that is the little tour.
Andrea, we had a really great question in the chat.
Yeah.
We wanted to know if the speaking opportunities, if there was anything available for the actual answering of some of the questions, like some of the N400 questions, if there were speaking opportunities.
I believe we have speaking opportunities kind of built into those. Sections.
There's a test yourself at the end of every unit where the students
That's right.
see a video when asking the question, and then the students record themselves answering the questions.
Thank you, Jenny.
Perfect.
Thank you. Great question. Sorry I didn't show that, but I'm glad you were here, Jenny, to remind me about that. Thank you. What else? Are there any other questions so far?
You know, we've had some great conversations, and
what have we been talking about?
Well, one of the suggestions that we had from Catherine was that she was saying the part about the creating an email.
Oh, yeah.
If that could be actually on the homepage, because they have to create an email to create the account to be on what they learned.
Great idea. Thank you. That's
on our wish list.
That's a great idea. See, I love when I get to talk with teachers. They're so creative, have such great ideas. That's a good one. How about anything else exciting come up we should chat about quickly?
Well, there was a quick question about whether or not this was going to have a Spanish version.
Oh, that's a good question. That would be so cool, and we would love to do that. But I'm going to take this as my opportunity to tell you guys how hard it is to run a free website. So I have to keep my eyes open for some grants, for some possible more Spanish to be added to the site. Great question. All right. Shall we continue on, Elisa?
Yeah, that's great.
Let's do that. All right. So the tour I took you on just a moment ago was on the learner site. So that was usalearners.org, where the learners go. But we also have a teacher site, which is very exciting because if you go to this website, a teacher, and you don't have to be like a credentialed teacher, really anybody, a volunteer, a mentor, a neighbor, anybody who wants to help someone else become a citizen can come to this site, click the big red register button, and in about 1 minute, you can create your own free courses based on our USA Learns content. So I love that, and I think it's something that makes us very special. And I am going to now invite Elisa to talk a little bit about the teacher site, because she is a real life teacher and she's used it.
I'm a real live teacher.
That's right.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the teacher side of it. For right now, if you have a teacher site and you want to see what the students see as a student, you will create another account as a student. And I just want to forewarn you that you need to have 2 different email addresses. So again, one of those things that are on our wish list is that at some point in the future, maybe we'll have an opportunity to make the teacher have a student account at the same time. But for right now, yeah, they're going to be 2 separate things. Sure. The nice thing about the teacher site is that there are tons of resources for you so that you can manage or not manage your students in a way, but you can also see what kind of resources that we have provided for you. So there was a great question about it. If there was a way that, a teacher can manage the students to see how long they've been time on task and things like that. And yes. The answer is yes. And so when a teacher creates an account on the teacher site, they can also have the opportunity to create a classroom. And within the classroom, they'll get a code. And this is the code that you would give your students to use the code when they register and sign in and enroll in my teacher's class. That's what it says on the student site. There's a little bar at the top. It says enroll in my teacher's class. They type in the code, and instantly the teacher can see who has enrolled in their class. You can manage the roster. You can manage you can see which lessons they've done. You can see the scores that they've gotten. You can see how long they've been on the course or a particular lesson. And so it's a really great resource, but I don't want teachers to feel like you have to do this. That's not the case. If you just want to give students the opportunity to practice on their own independently, that's totally fine too. So it's not one or the other. You can manage a class or you can not manage a class. You can have a student account and then do it as a whole class instruction in a classroom if you want as well. So there's a lot of different options for you and your students to practice within the citizenship course. You can also download reports. Again, when you go in there, you can download reports. You can see the different kind of resources that we have. We're in the middle of, just like with the other USA Learn courses, there is a scope and sequence. And I know there was a question in the chat regarding vocabulary words.
Ooh, and Jenny's going to show us that in a minute.
Exactly. So, Jenny's going to be the star of the show because she's going to show you all the things that the teachers are going to be like begging for. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for as far as what I'm going to talk about.
Fabulous. That was wonderful. Thank you. So as Elisa mentioned, we do have some wonderful teacher resources. We just recently kind of revamped this page a little bit. So if you look at it and it looks a little different, it's because we changed it. So for the USA Learn Citizenship course, we have a scope and sequence document. And we have a scope and sequence document that we are finalizing. We have some fabulous vocabulary lists. We have audio scripts, and Jenny is going to talk a little bit about those teacher resources.
Okay. Let's see.
She's going to share her screen and show you this lovely document that we've been working really hard on.
Okay. Well, I didn't know I had to be a star, but
Sorry, you are.
This is the document. There are two documents among the teacher resources. One of them is the scope and sequence, and there's another one called teacher notes and annotated links. Or it's not there yet, but it will be soon. We're finalizing it. And I wanted to show you the teacher notes one because it includes the scope and sequence. So all of these columns that you can see on the screen now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns up to this green one. All of this information is also in its own document, so it's there's a little more space, you're able to read it. And then for this document, I've added links and notes for teachers, which I'll talk about in a minute. I just wanted to say for the scope and sequence, you'll see the usual information that you would expect. The lesson title and the language that's covered. This includes all of the vocabulary words and the civic engagement, digital literacy topics, and some correlations with EL Civics and with the CASA SIT test. Now, I wanted to point out this second column because it changes depending on the unit. So in Unit 1, Unit 1 is all about the naturalization process. So that's what you'll see in this column, which part of the naturalization process is being covered. For example, reasons for applying. When we get to Unit 2 is all about the N400. So this column shows you which part of the N400 application is covered in each lesson. So you can see here, it's parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7, and the names of those parts. And if we go down to Unit 3, which Andrea didn't show you any activities from there, but Unit 3 is all about the civics test questions. And it covers all 100 questions plus the reading and writing practice, and there's dictation for the writing practice. And in this section of the scope and sequence, these are the numbers of the 100 questions. So if you look at the list from USCIS, they're numbered 1 to 100. And this tells you which question is covered in each lesson. Okay. So as I said, there's a separate scope and sequence document that is just this part in case that is the information that you want. And then over in this document, I've added this giant yellow column, which is links and notes for teachers. And I just want to show you quickly the kind of information that you'll find in this column. So first, at the beginning of the units, it tells you what's new. So this tells you what's new in Unit 1. There's a new lesson on how to create a USCIS account, a new introduction to the N400 online, and some new digital literacy practice. The other thing you'll find in this column is I thought it would be useful for teachers. We refer to a lot of links in the course. Some of them are in the activities and some of them are in the middle of videos. So I thought it would be useful for teachers to have one document with all of the links that are referenced in the course, because everything changes on the internet all the time. And if you want to preview them or anything before your learners look at them, they're all here. And in some cases, I've also added some other links that are very closely related to the material. I didn't want to overwhelm you with references, so there's mostly there links that are actually in the course. In Unit 1, that's mostly what you find in this yellow column is information about the links that are in the course. In Unit 2, again, you'll see it says what the new activities are, and it tells you about the links. And then there are also some notes in Unit 2 about things to do with, for example, special populations. For example, in this case, seniors. And this lesson is the one that Andrea showed you, the In Your Community lesson about getting a driver's license or a state ID. And in some states, non-seniors, they might not be interested in the driving part of it, but in some states, seniors can get non-expiring IDs for free, so there's little notes like that throughout here. And I've also put in, especially for the In Your Community activities, I've added some suggestions for ways to use these with a group of learners. So ways, especially to make the activity a little more multi-level. So giving you maybe some simpler questions for beginners to, like, where is the DMV and what hours is it open? And then some, more advanced questions for higher level learners or learners with more technology skill, because you'll find if you have a group, you'll have all different levels on both of those measures. And then you can have them share information in multi-level groups. So there's a lot of little activity suggestions like this. And then the other thing you'll see is boxes like this. This one says more practice with USAL. Those are our courses. So these are our other beginning, high, intermediate courses. So you'll see references to Access America, to English 1 Plus, and to the second English course. And it's just the units in those courses that cover things that are closely related to or somewhat related to what they're studying in this course, in case you want to give them more online practice. And finally, you'll also see these boxes that say for beginners, and those are references to our first English course 1, especially in this Unit 2, because there's a lot of personal information and things like that, that if they need to brush up on that, this shows you, for example, where in English course 1, we cover dates and ordinal numbers. So that's the kind of thing that you'll see in this yellow column. So this document is called links and teacher notes, or you can do the scope and sequence, and which only has the basic information. And I also wanted to point out that there is a vocabulary. I've listed the vocabulary here that's in the unit, but there's a separate vocabulary list that includes the vocabulary word, the definition, and the sample sentence. So you have all of those that are in the course. You have all of those available to download. Okay. And I think that's it. I'll hand it back over to Andrea.
Jenny, that's absolutely beautiful. There were some nice comments I saw. Someone posted, this is going to be amazing for teachers. And I think that is absolutely true. Wow, that was really great. Thank you. Okay, so we are almost done. I'm watching the clock. We talked about our resources. And let's see here. Remember near the beginning of my presentation, I asked if you all might do me a favor, which is to enter in some ideas into the chat of how you might use this course. Well, I would love, love, love if you might please do that. Because I'll share with you, we are always listening for great ideas from people, creative teachers, people from other types of organizations too. I know I talked a lot about teachers, but really anyone who wants to help immigrants, we would love your ideas because we listen hard and we try to implement folks' ideas, when we have that opportunity. And I would like for you to tell your friends this webinar will be recorded, and we will be putting the link to it on our resources page. There's the link to it. And I think we're going to plop it in the chat, or maybe we already did. And there's also another webinar. I've been invited to basically give this presentation with a links group on September 28th at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And again, I think we will either put it in the chat or we have done that already. But anyway, tell your friends or join us again if you'd like to. Okay, are there any other questions floating around, Elisa, that we should cover?
So we did have a couple of questions in regards to the videos that are in here that are not YouTube. Can students adjust the speed on the videos?
That is a good question. I mean, that's
Yeah,
not,
I'm trying to think.
It's not a feature we have built. I don't know does YouTube have some kind of speed adjustment? I don't know.
Yes, yeah, YouTube does. And so I think one of the questions was whether the non-YouTube videos, or if any of the videos are non-YouTube, if they were.
I will say we're delivering them all through YouTube. So I would think that any YouTube tools would work.
Yeah, great. And then
I
there
haven't
was
tried
another
it, but that's what I think.
Yeah, there was another question in regards to the seniors, if there was a specific section for those 20 questions that seniors have to answer for the interview.
Yeah, we don't have anything on that, but that would be a great addition.
And any updates about the 128 questions that's coming up in the future too?
We have our ears open for changes that could be coming, and when those become a reality, we'll be looking for funding to try to address them as fast as we can. So we're watching, we're seeing where that's going.
Yeah, and there's tons of suggestions that people are using to develop lesson plans. I mean, yeah, they're super excited. Wonderful.
All right. Well, Jenny, is there anything else you think we should cover, or Elisa, anything else we should cover before we let folks go?
If you do have any more questions, just put them in the chat because we're going to save the chat and go through them.
Yeah, we will. And if we didn't answer your question, on the webinar, we will try our very best to respond to you via email. And I just want to really take this moment to thank you for coming. We're thrilled that you were here. If other questions come to mind, feel free to drop an email to help@usalearns.org. And we'll be more than happy to help you. So thank you again.